For those of you that don't know, I've been bootstrapping my candle business for the last few years with some success, but recently I've done a big relaunch as my last sort of ditch effort to finally make this thing work. So in today's video, vlog number 4, I'm going to talk about advertising, how I'm going to try and dominate the space, how many candle sales I've made in the last week, and just a general catch up. So let's get into the video. Right, so on today's agenda is improving our marketability and just how everything looks. I want it to look as good as it can possibly look before I spend a load of money in advertising. So if I can get the listing optimized first, so it just ranks well, converts well, and people see stuff and they go, yes, that's what I want, with the best sales copy, best images, best videos, all that kind of stuff. It just takes a bit of time, like building those little pieces of the jigsaw puzzle. For me, it was just getting the listing live, using ChatGPT to get some rough content, get some keywords, but now it's really time just to improve the listings, hone in on that kind of, just sharpening it like you do like a knife or like an arrow or something like that, just honing basically, with my horrendous analogies there, but you get the idea of what I'm talking about. So yeah, behind me I've got a makeshift setup with a £20 light, a A3 piece of card, and just some natural light. You need really good natural light to take photos. And it just goes to show, for example, what you can do with just a bit of ingenuity. You don't necessarily need to pay a photographer, however, they probably will do a better job. And you don't necessarily need to buy like an expensive light box and all that kind of stuff. You can do it quite cheaply by yourself. And today I paid for like an Amazon coaching consultation call. There's a chap that I watch on YouTube who's got his own sort of brand and private label products, and he's doing really well. So I thought, why not reach out, and he will be able to just give me a bit of advice. And there's things I miss, like there's definitely things that people can point out, and sometimes it's so simple you go, oh, why haven't I done that before? So one of the things he suggested was maybe just trying to take a photo of the candle with the flame lit, so people know exactly that it's a candle. So at the moment my tins, they look really good, but without either reading the title or reading the label, you wouldn't necessarily know it's a candle. But if there's something alight, people know what that is immediately. So it's just making the process as seamless as possible. So when people search for something, they go, yes, that's a candle, it looks good, let's have a click on that, and then we can decide if we want to buy it. So that's what I'm going to do today. Take a photo of every single candle lit, improve my listings, and just try and improve my overall sort of marketing. So I'll try and get a little video of me just taking a few photos. And then this is the aftermath. So I managed to use the same candle tin over and over and then just replace the labels, which is actually quite a time effective way to do it. And then whilst I was doing that, I thought I'd do the incense and just try and showcase what the incense is in front of the tin. So I think that's going to look quite cool. At the moment I've got a couple of good photos, but they're just not good enough. But they were a good start to at least get the ball rolling so I could send some stuff into Amazon. And then the next step is just to edit all of this and then get it on Amazon so it's ready to go. So yeah, the next bit is the tedious bit. So little lunch stop, then carry on. So that's the best part of 5 hours. Taking photos, editing photos, putting them on Amazon, and just trying to improve my images. But I think, to be totally honest, I don't know if my images are any better than they were before. They look cool, but there's like a resizing thing on Amazon sometimes. I think before they fit perfectly in the box on the listing, like when they show up, which is kind of the main point of this. When they show up, when you search for something, that's where you want them to look like optimal. But now, because they're maybe a bit thinner, Amazon kind of crop it in a certain way where it's just lots of blank white space, so the image isn't as big as it could be. So I'm going to play around with it, see if I can resize it a bit and just shift it so it almost feels like I've wasted 4 or 5 hours taking these images, albeit they're good and I can use them for just general content purposes. But yeah, just, you know, when you've been inside too long just doing repetitive tasks, editing stuff and copying, pasting, it's just, yeah, need to get out now. So it's just, after a while, just, that's how my brain feels, just, yeah. But I've been playing around with Helium 10, which is a pretty good piece of software. Never really used it before because it's been quite expensive and I haven't really thought it was worth it. But if I need to make Amazon my main earner, I've got to use the tools to improve it. So there's lots of keyword research on there.
There's a thing called Cerebro, which just reminds me of something from X-Men. But you can basically just look up loads of keywords and it'll give you the relevant data rather than me just guessing it, which is what I've done so far with everything on Amazon. Just guessed it and hope for the best, use a bit of ChatGPT. So I'm just going through all of my bits, filling all the bullet points, all the descriptions, all the keywords, and just looking at my competitors as well and just seeing what they haven't done and improving it, or seeing what they've done really well and then borrowing it. So that's kind of where we're at the moment. Taking a little break, go for a little nice walk out in the sun, and then we'll get back to it later.
Alright then, this is my rough Amazon framework. So this is everything I've been trying to do to make my listing stand out. Now, this isn't all content I've designed myself. It's stuff I've seen from lots of research, watching other people on YouTube, tips I've had, tips from consultations. It's an amalgamation of everything I've learned about Amazon so far, and sort of put it in my own words, basically. Now, I'm not an Amazon guru. I can't guarantee this will work, but I think if you do all of these things, you've got a good chance that you should stand out and hopefully get more sales and convert a bit better. It seems unreasonable after doing all of these things that you just wouldn't be able to have a better CTR and better profitability, better marketing, all of that kind of stuff. Anyway, waffling on once again, let's get into it. So the first thing is having good photos. A decent photo showcasing the product with a white background, and it needs to be framed right. It needs to be able to sort of sit in the box. You don't want it too small. The thing is with Amazon listings, it kind of reframes it to a certain size. So you want to work out what that size is and make sure your photo fills the box. You don't want to be showing up on the Amazon search with like a tiny candle and then loads of white space. So you want to try and make sure that's kind of optimized as well. And just trying to showcase your product as best you can. Sometimes with your candle labels, if you can have that clear so people can read it, they can see what it is, or with a reed diffuser or something like that, it can help increase like click-through rating because people see exactly what it is. And that's what I've started doing with mine. I've started trying to have my candles lit and just seeing if that makes a difference in terms of people clicking and just having a look. Sometimes when I've got a lovely product and it's like a straight on view with the candle tin, you might not necessarily know what that is until you've sort of read the description. But if it's a light, it looks like a candle. People know what that is. So I'm hoping that will make a difference. It's too early to tell at the moment, but we'll see. I'm optimistic. I think that is a good move. The other thing is you want to get several other photos. So you want to get some lifestyle photos showcasing your product in action, make it look nice, luxurious, have it in certain places where people would use it, bathrooms, kitchens. And then I find having like an image that's very descriptive. So I normally have one that has like dimensions on, burn time, information about the product, stuff like that. So people can just click on that and they know exactly what they're getting, what's going to be in the box, all that kind of stuff. And then I try and do a few other sort of photos like story, brand building, morals, what you stand for, trying to just showcase your brand a bit. So whether it's eco, soy, blah, 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 fully recyclable, something like that. Or with my storytelling candles, I try and paint a bit of a picture of what it is. So with like a fresh rain candle, I've sort of got raindrops and I'm trying to evoke an emotion. So it's that kind of thing. So just try and use as many photos as you can. Try and fill all the boxes with photos. Just use everything to like your advantage, really. Spend a bit of time with it. They don't have to be the best photos in the world. Having photos on there is better than nothing. You can always improve them over time. That's kind of what I've been doing. So I start with like the bare minimum and then just improve it over time and just take slightly better photos. I'll take a few lifestyle ones here and then just adjust it and add it. Like with these listings, it's not just a set and forget. I find it's like a constant work in progress to evolve it and just make it better as time goes on. A good heading, so you want your title to stand out, you want it to explain exactly what it is, and you also need to get some keywords in there to rank. So for certain candles, maybe coffee candles, you want to get a few different keywords in there, maybe coffee lover gifts, stuff like that. Some of the other keywords can cost you quite a lot of money in pay-per-click if you're trying to rank for them, because coffee lover's gift is quite generic. So it depends how far and wide you want to go, but spending a bit of time getting a good heading works. Spend a bit of time looking at other people's competitors and just see what they're doing and how they're ranking. Don't copy them, but learn from them and do it in your own way. Now the bullet points, these are very important. It's the first place where you can sort of stuff information about what your potential buyer can read. So you want to aim for 5 bullet points going over these sort of 5 things.
The first one, you want to explain what the product is, what it contains. Number 2, the benefit and the value of the product. Number 3, unique selling point. What makes it stand out? Why is it better than everyone else? Is it eco-friendly wax? Is it a cotton wick? Is it some wacky scent? It's got to be something that they can't get somewhere else. So explain that. And then number 4, the fears. Why people might not buy it. So with this one, I try and paint a bit of a FOMO picture, what they're going to miss out on if they don't get it. So I paint a picture of, like, with my bookshop candle, someone sitting down in their little book nook with their sort of books next to them, lighting their candle that smells of old bookshops, and it creates that kind of whole atmosphere, that whole sort of vibe and experience, if you will. And then the promise, what your product will deliver, how it's made, a bit of a backstory, that kind of thing. So with those 5 bullet points, I try and just get descriptive as possible. Paint the picture. Don't spend too much time on the facts, although they are important, but you want to paint the picture. So when people read it, they can imagine themselves with that product, or eating that pizza, or whatever it is you're selling. Number 4, A+ content. Now this one does take a bit of work, but a lot of people don't do it. I see so many listings which seem to sell quite well with terrible descriptions and A+ content. Now, I'm not a guru at this, but there are so many options on there. Why wouldn't you try and use them? So with the A+ content, it's like a place where you can put loads of images. You can get really descriptive with sort of content and just paint the picture. You can paint the picture of what your product is exactly like. Without A+ content, you're relying on images at the top and you're relying on your bullet points and your sort of word descriptions. With this, you can really just paint a lovely picture. So I normally start with just a small minimum one. I get sort of 4 or 5 photos of my products. I get a few lifestyle photos of them in action. I explain sort of who I am, what the products are, what they can do for you, and why they're better than everyone else. It's just get it done. It is useful. A bit like A+ content, brand story. So this just helps build brand awareness. You can go back into your morals, what you stand for. It also builds up trust as a small business by showing a bit of who you are, and that people love authenticity. People are moving away from big brands and buying from people. Now this is something I do want to improve. I need to get my face on it a bit more, but it's a bit scary on Amazon. I don't know why, it's just such a big platform. Whacking my face on it scares me. But I think as time progresses, I'll spend a bit more time and I'll go back to my brand story and improve it. At the moment, it's just the bare minimum just to get it going, but it's something I can definitely improve. Number 6, you need to get some reviews on there. Social proof works wonders. I'd never buy anything without any reviews, and it feels like a bit of a risk doing so. So even just having 1-star review will make the difference. I won't get into how to get reviews, but just be creative. You can get them. But over time, they will come naturally, especially if your product is banging. Number 7, avoid static pricing. Now this is something I came across recently by watching a video, and it's something I'm just playing around with. I think every time you change your price, Amazon will sort of have that slash deal saying, oh, it's 5% cheaper than it was the other day. I think that might just help get people over the line as well. It's still, yeah, like I said, early days with this, so I'm just playing around with it, but it's worth playing around with everything in your toolbox and just seeing what works. Number 8, build a store. So you can build a little store on Amazon. It just builds brand awareness as well. And if you don't have that, people can click sort of search for more Suffolk Candles products. And if people are targeting your keywords, some of their products will show up. So it means you could lose a sale. So you're just kind of negating, hopefully, people moving away from your page on your product, finding something else. You're just kind of avoiding that. So those are the 8 things I recommend trying to get on your listing. Spending a bit of time just doing it. Get the bare minimum at first and then go back to it, reiterate over time and just improve it and just see what works. It isn't set and forget. It is a constant work in progress. I hope that helps. I'll thank you.
Sunday the 23rd, evening run, 8 o'clock. My body doesn't really want to do it, but my mind does. I often find myself worrying about things I can't control and making up scenarios in my head about things that might not even happen. So these sort of runs are just good for the brain, help me get out of my funk. Plus running up a hill, very hard. But what a lovely evening. This is proper English countryside evenings here. It's a bit like a slalom here. Just going through all these Jurassic Park style things. It's not good for my knee, I tore a ligament when I was like 18, 19 doing gymnastics, but I still persist with exercise. Yeah. It's like a downhill sprint. Like, I've never grown. Miniature jungle. Right, let's talk about some money and some numbers. Let's take a break from all this advertising, nonsensical, brain-hurting malarkey, and let's talk about the big bucks, or lack thereof. Because I've whittled down my other stock and just stopped sending it in, and because I'm topping up new stock, a dog just walked past, there's like a lapse between actually really selling and things. So I've sold 31 of my new tin candles on Amazon, which is really good considering they've really only just gone stock in the last week, and I haven't done any advertising. The listings were just bare bones, albeit good images. It's just maybe relying on my previous brand I've built up and goodwill with that. So I'm really happy with that. 31 candles without actually doing any advertising, I'm super impressed with, and that gives me a quiet optimism for the future. I think once I get everything optimized as much as possible, the listing, the copy, the photos, the videos, all of that stuff, and really hit the pay-per-click advertising, I think this could really just fly, and I think I could be onto a winner. And the total amount of candles I sold in the last sort of month is 55, and that's some of my old candle jars. I'm just whittling down the stock, like I said, so I'm not really pushing that. They're just sort of there selling, and that's £856 revenue so far, and about just shy of £300 profit, which is about 34% margin. So I'm pretty happy with that at the moment. So that's, yeah, for not really trying yet. And really the first goal is to get £500 a month, which I think will be pretty easy. Hoping I hit that this month. I've still got, what is it, 20th? I've got 10 days to go. So if I can get another £200 profit, that'd be good. And then £1,000, and then 1,500, and then 2,000. I think to get to my first goal, which is about £2,000 profit a month, it's about 400 units I need to sell. But I want to spread that out between candles, incense, weed diffusers, and a few other things I've got locked in here. But to be honest, if I could sell 400 candles, that'd be absolutely winning, because then the other products will just top it up. And I'm fairly confident I can make 400 candles. I think in the last 3 or 4 weeks, I've probably made shy of 360, getting on to 400 candles. I'll probably say 400 candles easily. It's just they're not all shipped yet. And it hasn't been too taxing. The tins are much easier to do and process. As I've mentioned, I just pour it once, pour it twice, label it, ship it to Amazon, and it's done. It's streamlined, whereas before I had a lot of different processes, which just made it a bit harder and sometimes mentally more challenging, as I'd procrastinate quite a lot before doing it. Like doing a load of labels or doing a load of boxes. It's just some tasks that you just don't really want to do. So that's where we're at. And I think on Shopify, if I have a quick look, I've sold quite a few on there, 12 to 15 candles in the last sort of couple of weeks since I've gone live. What's that mean? Hang on. 4. Sorry, YouTube. 4, 6, 8, 9, 13, 17, 21. Yeah, so I have 21 tins on Shopify, so that's pretty good as well. So that, yeah, about 50 candles. Yeah, so it's actually more than I thought. So yeah, happy with that. But it never feels like quite enough. It's a good start. When I first started out candle making, this would have been an absolute dream. But because I've hit a really big December, I know what is actually possible to hit almost £3,000 profit in 1 month. I know it's achievable. I just need to make that a monthly thing. So that's where we're at in terms of candle sales and updating my listings. As I keep saying, Amazon is what I want to get number one, as that's what I can automate the most. I can send all my products there, and Amazon will deal with all of the shipping and all of that stuff. I don't have to constantly go to the post office. I don't have to constantly be involved. As much as I do want to build it up on my Shopify, it's quite nice to have it hands-free. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. I'm just absolutely caning it. I'm making as many candles as I possibly can, and I'm shipping them to Amazon, and I'm just seeing what sticks. And the ones that do well, I can whittle down. So at the moment I've got 16 or 17 cents on there. And once I whittle that down, it's going to be much easier, because then I can make like 101 cent in a morning rather than making various different ones and labeling different ones. So it's a work in progress. So just a bit of an update. I don't think there's much more I want to talk about today. So it's going to be a much shorter vlog compared to the rest of them, which have gone on for about half an hour. So goodness knows why I had so many words to get out there. I do want to start making slightly more educational content rather than just me speaking to you about my thoughts, feelings, and candle business. I want to actually provide some value. I think videos that I would have wanted when I first started, the whole sort of brand building process, candle making, the labels, all of it, there's a lot of knowledge I've sort of gained doing it, so I just need to get the time. But at the moment it's just getting this off the line and really becoming my main income side hustle. Anyway, we're fucking going all over the place. We'll leave it there. Peace out. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, all that stuff, and I will see you next week.